This week on Connect the Dots and in this week's YouTube video, I have the pleasure of having a guest, Jillian Whitney, whom I've not met in real life, but feel like I've known her forever. In fact, I met her through LinkedIn. Quick intro to Jillian. Jillian Whitney is a video marketing coach specializing in LinkedIn video. She believes every business professional needs to be using video to market themselves. Video boosts your online visibility, increases sales, and promotes your business like no other marketing tool. As a video marketing coach, Jillian helps business professionals make videos in a way that is comfortable for them. She loves sharing easy peasy solutions to help folks get started with video. Jillian is a citizen of 4 countries and a digital nomad. She currently resides in Las Vegas with her husband and beloved globe-trotting dachshund. Not only do we talk about video and the importance of video in your marketing strategies, but Jillian also shares with us why she decided to get started with video, how she got started, and what it was that she was reading that prompted her to specialize in video on LinkedIn. She may or may not share some other personal stories with us as well. So if you want to act like a fly on the wall in our conversation, go ahead and join us.
Put the books in storage. That's where you know your priorities in life. I still have a storage unit full of books because I love books.
That's not something you
I,
probably want to get rid of, huh?
I visit my books. they're all in boxes, and I just kind of go, "Hi, how y'all doing?" And they're like, "We're good."
We're good. Just come visit us once in a while. We're good. Well, it's good to hold on to books like that, especially if there's some type of memory associated with them, whether it was when you were a child or if it was an adult, it was something that you had with your kids or afterwards when you started your business with your sister, when you guys parted ways. I mean, books actually have different memories tied to them, even though they're not just books, right? But I'm sure that there was a reason behind all of them, and why not keep them?
Absolutely. And it's kind of funny, Vicki. I think books are really they're like the markers of our souls. And you can tell a lot about people by the books they read. And I know whenever I go into people's homes, it's the first thing that I do. And I'm not snooping, but it's like my radar goes off and it's like, do they have books? Do they display books? Or if I know they're a reader, it's like, are there books in their living room, or is it something that they keep private? And then if I see their books in their living room, I can't help but not just peek at their bookshelves and see what kind of books are they reading, because it tells me a lot about them. And whenever I see somebody has a book that I own or I've read, I do a little happy dance in my head, because then that means we've got a common bond that we share. So there's something about, if you tell somebody about a book and you go, I love this book, and they went, oh my gosh, I read it too. You just kind of feel like a little spark goes off or something. It's a wonderful thing. I love books. It's a wonderful connecting tool.
But yeah, the books are, it's very interesting that you bring that up, because that practice is something that a lot of people do when they go to like a LinkedIn profile, or if they go to a website, or if they're in person and they're meeting somebody for the first time, they look for that point of commonality. And I'm a book reader, but I'm not like an avid book reader. Like if you went to my storage facility, you'd see like one box of books. One reason, because I either sell them or I give them away to people when I'm done. But then a lot of them are just business books too. So I do want to hold on to those. I just go through phases where sometimes I do want to read, and other times I'm like, I just want to veg out and just watch a movie, so you could probably find something that we have in common, whether it's business or personal, but you probably wouldn't find like some of the classics that most people would have if they are avid readers.
And I love the business books too. It's like I was talking about, one of my favorite business books was Purple Cow by Seth Godin. That was
Mhm.
like, it was just like such a great book. And it really made you realize we must be remarkable. We must, there's so much choice out there when it comes to working with people. And it's our personalities that come through. And I think That's why I really just enjoy anything to do with Seth Godin. I first saw him on a TED Talk. I absolutely fell in love with his personality, his presentation style. And I just, and the funniest story I ever heard about him was he once was nominated for some big award, and he showed up to get his award thinking he was an absolute shoo-in. And you know who won the award? It was like Lamb Chop, like Sherry Lee Lewis. And do you remember she had a puppet lamb chop? And it, like way back from I don't know, the 70s or 60s or something like that. And he said there's nothing worse in life than losing to a stuffed lamb. And I
It
just
sounds like
thought that
something
was
he
so
would say too.
yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
So, but I love all of his books. And Purple Cow was a game changer for me. And I think we all have those business books that it's like we can't give away, because it's like you'll kind of go back to it and you'll get like another, Story Brand is another one, there's just so many good marketing books out there. And I think that they give us ideas of what to do and where to go. And the message always seems to be the same: get your personality into your marketing. It's not about your product, it's not about your service, it's about you and how you can transform your customer and make them a better them, solve their problems. And yet it's so funny that most people just don't even want to hear that. They want to put the bows and the bells and the whistles on their offerings, when really at the end of the day, it's about solving your customers' problems.
Yeah, exactly. And I think you have found such a unique way of doing that as well through video, and not just video, but your presentation in how to get people to not only understand the value of video, but how easy it can be with a mindset shift. And then that process after that, and having a good coach like you working with them is what's really going to be integral in their success and being on video. So why don't you tell me a little bit about like your video, like how you decided to focus in on video first, and then we'll kind of take it from there.
Okay, so primarily I was doing, digital marketing in general. So it was, websites. I could do websites, did SEO, hated it. Ugh, SEO was just not my jam. I learned it, but I went, this is,
That's a forever game. That's like you're just
and it's
can't
such a
win.
special niche.
Yeah.
If you're going to do SEO, don't do anything else, because like once you learn about SEO, you go, this is huge. This is not just keywords. There's so much to this. So that's when I recognized you either need to be an SEO specialist or not. And I decided not my jam. So I kind of stuck more with the websites, email marketing, and blogging and that sort of thing. And what I found was I was helping people with websites, and we were doing lead magnets and getting their email and stuff like that. And then what I discovered is they were getting really frustrated that they weren't being seen in Google. And of course, I did know SEO and I knew how it worked, and we got them going, but it was taking a long time to get traction on their blog articles. All these people were great bloggers. They were writing blogs. And so I said, well, maybe we need to take video and put it into your blogs. And that gives you like a double hit, where if you have a YouTube video and you can embed that in your blog, then you're kind of getting some traffic from YouTube. But also too, I was finding that if you had YouTube, you kind of got into the search results quicker than blogging. So then it was just like, well, if video works for YouTube, where else would it work? And at the time, I had made a shift. I had left Facebook. I truly just left Facebook because of the lack of organic reach. And I don't believe in, it's not that I don't believe in it. I'm more of an organic marketer, and I don't really want to focus on ads. I think that's another specialty skill, that if you're going to do something like Facebook ads or LinkedIn ads, get somebody that really understands it. Because again, I've done Facebook ads before, and you get in there and you're just like, oh my gosh, we're not in Kansas anymore, Dorothy. There's so many things to click, and do you want it on Instagram and impressions? And I was just like, you need a degree to do all this stuff. So I said, you know what? I think Facebook, you got to pay to play. It's time to leave. So made the shift to LinkedIn, and didn't know how to do LinkedIn. I was one of those people like had this like tumbleweed profile, it's just like the wind. You could imagine like my nameplate was like hanging on, kind of like crickets, it was just pathetic. And yet I got to know a common colleague of ours, John Asperian, began following him, learned from him. And then I read his book, and he has a wonderful book. And talking about books, Content DNA, wonderful book. And in it, he talks about being known for one thing, specializing. And then I thought to myself, maybe that's the message I'm supposed to hear right now, that it's best to, hone in all my skills. And if I look at everything, what is it that I love? And I thought, I love video. I've been doing video for years. I used to make online courses, and, I've been doing video for probably about 10 or 15 years, but I was always behind the scenes. I was never in front of the camera, and did how-to videos. That's sort of what I did. And then I thought, okay, maybe I could combine my love of LinkedIn, which I fell in love with the platform, and video, put it together. But gosh, video's hard. So then I started thinking about maybe my role in life is to make it easy peasy. And that kind of flowed. And that's really what I focus on. I don't really do a lot of video for other people. I do the video coaching to help them discover that it doesn't have to be hard. It can be fun. It can be easy to do. Just you need a little bit of hand holding to get you going. But once you learn it, then just start with the basics. We don't have to be Hollywood producers with, I always laugh and say, we don't need green screens and the running of the bulls in the background and, our own, dedicated soundtrack and everything else. We just need videos that reach out to people, address some valuable content that people would find helpful, and then they get to know, like, and trust you, which to you and I as marketers, that's our favorite phrase. And then why would they want to work with you? Because they're comfortable. And at the end of the day, you show up on a Zoom call and people say, I feel like I already know you. Like they just feel comfortable working with you the minute that they get to know you. And so who doesn't want that? So that's kind of been my video journey, and that's what I do.
Yeah. Well, I think you brought it all together too with that, after mentioning that one of your favorite marketing books was Purple Cow by Seth Godin, which is one of my favorite books too. It's actually the book that got me more interested in marketing than anything else has. But that, as you mentioned, going into video is what really separates you from other people, because there's still a lot of people, right, who are intimidated by being on camera. And
Yes.
Is that something that you hear a lot from people?
It's huge. It's funny. In the beginning, I thought it was about the tech, because to me, the tech was hard. Because I remember when I first started doing LinkedIn video, I thought, how do I make my videos square? I was always, how do I add captions? How do people do that? And because I'm the Google goddess, because I have this huge research background, because I used to work at libraries, and that was my job, to research. And I became an online searcher before we had the internet. I used to do it on dial-up, like I'm old. I'm older than Google. And I really learned great Google searching skills. So if I don't know how to do something, I just Google it and I learn it and I experiment and I teach myself. So in the beginning, I thought that's all people want to know how to do, the tech. So I was out there teaching the tech, and I was, I have a YouTube channel. I have all sorts of different videos. And then I found out people were like, I can't even turn on the camera. Like, I'm not ready to learn how to caption my videos because I can't even film the videos. I don't even know how to film the videos, but I don't want to be seen. I don't want to be on camera. And I found out that the fear was huge. And what I have discovered, and I have a psychology background. I have a psychology degree. And I know a little bit about fear, and I've dealt with fear in my own life. And I know that fear, the only way through fear is through it. We don't wake up one day and just say, you know what, I'm not afraid of making videos anymore. We just have to do it. But there's a process. So I don't tell people, oh, just get over yourself, turn on the camera and upload it to LinkedIn. And no, it's like, there's a process. Learn how to do it so that you feel that you're in control, that you can do it intelligently. There's a lot to learn before you make that first video. So, lighting and where to look and what to say. And there are things to prepare you. And I talk about, one time I decided I wanted to learn how to skydive. And actually, I didn't want to learn how to skydive. My husband wanted to go for his birthday. He wanted to skydive. And I didn't want him to go because I figured he'd die. So it's just kind of like, okay, I'm not going to do this. But he really, really wanted it. So I thought, maybe I should get over my fear, because he wasn't afraid. And I thought, I'll get over my fear. I'll learn about skydiving so that I'm okay that he does this. So I learned about the safety, and it's actually a good process, and you can learn how to skydive. So I said, okay, I'm going to do it too. So we went, and you don't just jump out of the plane, because we did what's called static line, where you jump out yourself. You're not strapped on an instructor's back and off you go. You literally jump off the plane. And so what you have to do is a whole day of training before you can actually go up and skydive. But then when you get up there and you're in that plane at 5,000 feet and they open the door and it's like the wind is flying in, you're just like, this was not really a good idea. I'm a little afraid. But the thing is that you still have to kind of feel the fear and do it anyway. You have to get out. And all the prep work that you have done all day long kicks in, and you realize, hey, there's somebody on the ground that's got a radio on, and they're telling you, turn right, turn left, now you need to put on the brakes. And that's what I kind of see doing video as. You have a video coach, you have somebody that teaches you, here's what you need to do first, here's how you prepare. And then as you're doing it, they've got your back helping you through it, so that the next time you go up, you got it. You've got it. So that's how I see that you get through the fear. Educate yourself, and then maybe have someone to help you. And it doesn't have to be a coach. It could be a friend. It could be a colleague, but it could be your connections on LinkedIn. Everybody is very, very supportive in the video space, but learn what you need to do first, and it helps eliminate the fear. And always think about the customer on the other side of the video and how much you're helping them. And that too helps reduce the fear.
That is a great analogy with the going up in the plane and conquering your fear. As you were talking about it, I was sweating. I'm like, oh my gosh, fear of heights, big fear of mine. But you have a valid point that the only way to conquer it is to actually do it. And I am 100% a believer of that. Now, I am extremely scared of going up into a plane and actually jumping out of it. Will I ever do it? Probably not. But I will admit that when I first started doing video, it was something that I was really, really nervous. And this was a YouTube channel I started a while back, but I wasn't consistent with uploading videos until like early last year of 2020. But it really is, just to be honest, it was completely scary, but it was one of those things that when you look at the research and you see, like to your point of when you look at your customers and it's a way for them to get to know you better, know, like, and trust you, you're allowed to, it's a way to show your personality and help people understand who you are and what you might be like to work with or to partner with or whatever your situation is. So when you see that, and if it's something that you're, like you and I, we like to research, we like to see things, we like to, I'm a risk taker too, not to the jumping out of the planes, but trying new technologies, new platforms, new whatever, just to figure it out and see if it might be a good fit. In doing that, I saw that video was one of the big things that was heading in that direction of everybody's going to be wanting more of that. And if I'm going to help customers, then I need to be comfortable with it as well. And that was one of the things that just kept me going and saying, I have to do this. And once you publicly announce something to people, I know I'm this way, I have to follow through with it. Like, I don't want to say, I know I promised it, but now I'm not going to do it. So it's my way of saying, okay, I'm going to do this on a consistent basis. So that was what kind of got me through it.
Absolutely. And I do absolutely love your YouTube channel, because your YouTube channel has so much great content, and it really gives us a feel for working with you, because there's no fluff. It's like you're in there, you're always with something actionable, and people are learning from you, but they're also learning about you. They're learning your style. How do you make us feel? It's like you come across as being supportive, knowledgeable, like so many different things come into the video besides just what you're teaching. It's like, it's a really great way for people to say, wow, I would really want to work with her because she's got great mannerisms. She explains things. You break it down for people. So I thumbs up for your YouTube channel.
Oh.
I'm a subscriber.
Thanks so much, Jillian. We know what's funny is that you mentioned John Asperian earlier, and whenever I'm on LinkedIn and I'm like, I wonder if, how I could do this, either John Asperian or Jeff Young are the first two people I go to. But when I think of video on YouTube, there is no alternative. It's always you. I'm like, I'm going to go check out Jillian's profile because I want to see what she's doing. And I think you were the one that I found out about the cover story for your, which I still haven't done on my profile photo, that you could actually put. Is it a 15 or a 30-second video?
Well, I'll give you a secret. It's 30 seconds, but if you end up doing it, because you can actually just, record through LinkedIn and upload, but then you don't get captions. So if you want to make it so that it has captions, and so you're going to use some sort of like third-party tool to caption it on your phone or on your computer, and then you're going to get it to your phone, then it's got to be below the 30 seconds or it won't upload. So I tell people, aim for 28 seconds, because even 29.8 or something, sometimes it can be a little glitchy. So I always tell people, trim that video down to like 28 seconds or 29.1, like really get it just under the edge, and then upload it to LinkedIn. And then because it's nothing more frustrating than you make your whole video and then you can't upload it.
Yeah, that would be really frustrating, especially if you went through the process of actually getting it captioned and you paid for it and then it doesn't work and then you have to do it again. That would be really frustrating. So that's good to know. I did not know that.
And then also to make sure it's a 9:16. It's the only time in the planet that I will ever tell anybody to do a vertical video on LinkedIn, because what happens is when it opens up, it takes up all the real estate that LinkedIn gives you. So if you do it square, or if you do it 16:9, then you're not making use of the space, and it looks awful. If you're looking at somebody's cover story on a mobile, you can't read the captions. It's terrible. So I always tell people, it's the only time I'll tell you to go in 9:16. And if you can caption it, it's really wise.
Okay. So portrait for your cover. Is it called a cover story?
Yeah, profile. It's called your LinkedIn cover story.
Cover story. Okay.
There's no video in the title, which seems so non-intuitive to me. So yeah, it's just called your LinkedIn cover story, only able to upload it through your phone. It's a very weird thing. And I do actually have a whole article on it that I'd be happy to send you that for the show notes.
Yeah, if you could, that would be great. Yes.
20 examples.
Yeah, that would be perfect. What are the different ways on LinkedIn that you can use video apart from your cover story?
Oh boy, there's tons. Okay, so first of all, we have videos for the news feed, and I always recommend doing square videos because they get the best real estate space. So aim for square videos in the news feed because they just look good on desktop and mobile. So just your standard ones in the news feed are good, but then what you should do is make them a featured item, so that now you kind of just make them a star, then they show up on your featured list in your profile. So that's a way for you to make a video, but it doesn't just disappear in the news feed after 3 or 4 days. You can also embed videos into articles. So if you have a newsletter or even just a standard LinkedIn article, you can embed a YouTube video or you can embed a Vimeo video right into your article. And the awesome thing is they don't exit LinkedIn. it plays within the article. So that's a great way
Didn't know
to
that.
take
Yeah.
your blog post.
I don't think I
And
realized that, but I think that you've done that before, right? Where you've
I
had
do it all the
videos.
time.
Okay, so that
I do it
might
all
have
the
been where I
time.
was just like, oh, that's cool that they don't do that, but it still counts towards a view and view time in YouTube or Vimeo, right?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. To be honest with you, I don't think it does, because I
Mm,
think it's similar to like if a video was playing on your website. I'm not sure if that counts as a video view or not in
mm,
terms of YouTube. So probably would have to do some testing. That might be a
okay.
good one for John Asperian to go test for us.
Or if
Get
you wanted to
into
test
the
it, I'll
lab.
test it with you.
Yes, yes. But I think I actually tried to test that myself, and I did a couple of views, and I don't know if it did it. So that was kind of interesting. And you can even embed other people's videos. So say for instance, you were on somebody's LinkedIn Live and you knew that they also co-streamed to YouTube, then you could take that YouTube link from their channel and embed it into your article. And there you go. You have a video of you in it from somebody else's stuff. So that's kind of a cool little hack. You can also, of course, use video on your LinkedIn company page. So they have, actually, it's almost like a mini YouTube channel, because the nice thing about a company page is that if you upload native video, you have now a whole tab of all your videos. So that's kind of a cool thing to know about company pages, that you can be utilizing those and uploading those natively. And then when somebody goes, they see all of them. So I highly recommend, if you're a YouTuber, you know about thumbnails, because thumbnails are so important in YouTube. You do the same thing with your LinkedIn company page. Have a branded thumbnail so that when somebody goes to your videos, they're cohesive and they look nice. And, maybe it looks like, oh, it's like a series or something. So it could be like 10 tips to, take out the trash or something like that. And each one, it's tip number 1, tip number 2, so that it looks cohesive, like a little mini YouTube channel. So that's just kind of a little bonus. You can also do media links on your profile in your experience section. And you can, basically there are links that are going to go out to somewhere else. And so you might want to do YouTube. I prefer to link out to Vimeo. And I love YouTube. I love YouTube for everything, but it's a shiny, it's a shiny object. And if you get people to click on YouTube, they could disappear and leave your profile. So what I like to do is I have a Vimeo account. So anything on my profile, I have a link to Vimeo, because you go to Vimeo, you watch that, and I can set the end card to be, that's it. You don't see anything else. So it's like, oh, okay, then I'll close this and go back to the profile. So that would be another thing. So quite a few places that you can now do video. And then of course, now we have LinkedIn Live, and LinkedIn Lives they live forever. They live forever, and you can do all sorts of things like that. And what I've actually done, it's a little bit of a hack, but I have created an experience on my LinkedIn profile, and I call it a LinkedIn Live Producer, a LinkedIn Live show. And I now just put all my different videos for my LinkedIn Lives right in there. So, and you can also do your guest appearances on other people's and save those to your featured section. So you can do a video in a lot of different places in LinkedIn. It's pretty cool.
That's interesting. I didn't even think about the fact that you could take your lives or your videos on other people's profiles and feature those on your
I
own.
do it all the time. It's great.
It's very
That's
interesting.
great.
Very interesting. I know that you've got a LinkedIn Live that you do every week. So when do you have your LinkedIn Live?
So my LinkedIn Live is every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Pacific, which is 1
1
o'clock
p.m.
Eastern time. And I think it's 6 p.m. in the UK. And I have guests from all over the world. And you were my wonderful guest once. You came on the show and we had an awesome time. So I love it. And I really would emphasize to people, I think LinkedIn is going to continue to push. I think 2022 is going to be the year of LinkedIn Live. because there seems to be less organic reach with video. And and people get disheartened because video's a lot of work and we don't get the views. You can go on LinkedIn and you can do a poll. You can say, what's your favorite ice cream, vanilla or chocolate, and get like hundreds of views. You can do a video and it's just like, not a lot of love, but it's counted differently. And that's one thing that people have to recognize. A video view on LinkedIn, like, goodness, wouldn't be nice if we could have like the stats you get for YouTube's on LinkedIn. That would be on my, bucket list. I would love that. But essentially, you have to have watched a video for 3 seconds before it counts as a view. Whereas other things are impressions. So if you just have a graphic that you posted of like you going, yay, or you and your groceries or your food or something like that, that could have thousands of views, but that's an impression. It's not the same as a video. 3 seconds, 1, 2, 3. That's a lot of time. Somebody has to purposely stop and watch your video. So it doesn't count the same. And you have to recognize there's just lots and lots of people on LinkedIn who are viewers. People call them lurkers. I don't like that name. It sounds too negative. So viewers are people that are passive. They absorb, they consume content, but they don't necessarily respond. But this is the great thing. You might find down the road those people that are watching you, that are never commenting, that are never saying anything, when they're ready to work with you, will approach you and say, I've been watching your videos for years. And you're like, you did? Because you never commented. I never knew you. But they are seeing you. So that's why I tell people, don't worry about the stats and the metrics with videos on LinkedIn. Know that people are seeing you, and it just breaks those barriers down, keeps you top of mind. And when they're ready to work with you, they'll find you, and they'll remember what you look like.
Yeah, exactly. And they'll remember who you are to a certain degree because you've been on video and you're actually sharing who you are, and they get to know you a little bit better that way too. So yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, lurkers, I don't like that name either. And there are a lot of people who are viewers or watchers, and then they will reach out when they're ready. With video on LinkedIn, do you know if having video in all those different places, if that places you higher in algorithm, whether it's feed, profile views, do you think that helps with your exposure to a wider audience if you're, one, using video, and two, if you're using video and placing it in more places on your profile?
That's an excellent question. That's a really, really good question. Vicki, you're so smart. I don't know. I would just think that, it's kind of like if we put our content out in all sorts of different places, we're allowing people, it's like breadcrumbs. We're just kind of like throwing it out there, and however people will consume it will get it. So it's like, if you can take a LinkedIn Live and you can cut it up and snip it and put it here and put it there, it's just more places, that touch points that people can find you. I put my stuff on my website as well, just to see if somebody's going to find me through that door, that works. So I put all my guest appearances, I put my LinkedIn Lives, I put everything on my website as well. Hopefully Google will see it. I know that articles are great because those are indexed by Google's, but the news feed is not indexed by Google. So that's why it's really good to repurpose those videos. So if you do something for the news feed, then publish it on YouTube, then embed it on an article, the same content is in so many different places. You just think at the end of the day, maybe it doesn't necessarily help you with the algorithm, but it certainly makes you more searchable and more findable. And at the end of the day, that's what we want to be, more findable.
That's a great point. I hadn't thought about that the articles are going to help you from an SEO standpoint, whereas what you're doing in the feed, even though you're very regular and you're engaging and you're consistent, that's not going to help with SEO. So if you're looking for attracting business or attracting people from outside just the LinkedIn ecosystem, then it's important to consider some of those things like the articles, YouTube, your website, other things, and just kind of bring them all together. Like you said, just repurposing your content in different ways and in different formats: video, audio, text. everybody absorbs information in different ways, and having all of those present in one form or another on different platforms is really important. And you do a great job of that.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're
And
my, go ahead.
I just know that I should be doing more. And it was interesting. I think I had Sarah Clay on a LinkedIn Live, and we were talking about content creation. And I recognize that it's like, I need to do more of, and this is one of my goals for 2022, is that if I do a topic, like say, for instance, I'm talking, what's the difference between open captions and closed captions? Because most people don't understand the difference of that. And if I do something, I'll do a video and then that's it. But it's like, I should take that same content and I should turn it into a blog post. I should turn it into an article. I should probably turn it into a LinkedIn slider, one of those document posts. That's like, those are amazing how well they do in terms of visibility. Those document posts, those sliders, they're amazing. And you just have to recognize that it's like, people might have seen the video, but now they want the cheat sheet. So taking that same, and I don't do that. I do too much of, oh, I get an idea, I do a video, I make my video, maybe I get it on YouTube. And so I'm not repurposing enough. And you can repurpose on the same platform. And like, even now, I'm not making use of that on YouTube, where a lot of people are making shorts. And I have not started making shorts, but I think as content creators, we need to stop with so much quantity and just start to find smarter ways to take the same information and repackage it for different learning styles. And also too, yesterday's news, they didn't see it. So theoretically, you could kind of take a post that you wrote 6 months ago and now turn that into a LinkedIn article. And if it's still relevant, that's new content that you've already done.
Yeah. And then you can always reference the older post if you had data in there that was relevant at the time. But now you've updated it, and now you've got two pieces of content. And because you're linking back to the other one, it's probably going to help at some form and another with the algorithm.
Yes. And you can embed a LinkedIn post inside an article.
Nice. See, you're just full of information. You've just moved up to the person I go to for content information too, instead of John and Jeff. Who do you typically work with? Like, who are your clients? Are they entrepreneurs? Are they startups? Are they certain industry? Like, who are the people that you typically work with?
So it's interesting. It's starting to morph. So ideally, my ideal client, because as a marketer, it's like, I've always been very focused on make sure I understand who my target market is and who's my ideal customer. So I would have said originally my ideal customer was someone, sort of in that sort of like 50 age range, sort of the 40 to 40 to 50, that age range. And the small business owner, the coach, the consultant, that was my ideal customer. I'm starting to find that I'm resonating within the job search space. And I think that's just because my own colleagues that I have gotten to know during the pandemic happen to be in that space, in that industry. So ideally, I never even thought about working with people who were searching for jobs, or people who were working with people who are searching for jobs. And so I've started making videos for them because they just started asking, how would you do this? How would you do that? And I went, oh, I could make a video on that. And it started to broaden who I could work with. So ideally, I'd say the majority of the time I'm working with the solopreneurs and not small businesses, not big businesses. I'm not going to be working with Pepsi here. It's just like, usually it's just going to be those small business professionals that are selling a service as opposed to a brick and mortar business.
Okay. What's something that maybe those individuals don't know about you, but you wish they did know about you?
Oh, that's a really good question. Probably that I'm an introvert. That's the one thing that comes up over and over again. People think it's easy for me. They say you're an extrovert, it's easy for you, and it's not easy for me. And I still get nervous. I still get scared. When I do a LinkedIn Live every Tuesday, And every Tuesday I get scared and I get nervous, and I try to take those nerves and fears and then make it energy. So I always take my fears and convert them and use it as a power source. But also too, I always focus on outward instead of inward. I stop listening to myself, and I learned to go with mistakes. I am not perfect. I have no thing that I can do it perfectly. And I'll give you a great example. This past week, I did a LinkedIn Live, and it was just, you get those days in the universe where like everything goes wrong. So like probably 10 minutes before the LinkedIn Live, I'm setting up all my equipment, and my dog started flipping out. I don't know what happened. He started just running around in circles. He was barking at nothing. And it was just like, I'm going on a LinkedIn Live, So I was trying to get him calmed down, and, I was trying to get him in the living room, but he wouldn't go. He wouldn't be with anybody but me. And I went, okay, fine. He's just going to go under my chair. If he barks, I'll mute the mic, I'm just going to get over it. So because I was rattled, then I get into the LinkedIn Live, and I'm smart. I say, hey, let's meet 15 minutes before we go live with my guests so that we can do a tech check and all those type of things. So I showed up for the tech check. I was meeting a guest who I'm a big fan of. I had never met her before. And so here I am introducing myself for the first time, and my name was wrong. Somehow I typed my name wrong, and in my panic, I couldn't change my name. My microphone wasn't working, and all I wanted to do was just like get in and introduce myself to my guest. So I just went, it's not about me and my stress. Who cares if the name is wrong? I'm over that. I ripped out my microphone because it was more important for me to make my guest feel comfortable than de-stress myself. So I just took a deep breath and said, it's good. And I showed up, and I had a crappy mic, but you know what? It was still okay because I focused on my guest and then focused on my audience. And that's probably what I'd like people to know. I'm not perfect. I don't have it all together, but I think I have my mindset together that it's always about what value can I create. And I think of my audience, and I stop worrying about the monkey brain in Jillian's head.
Such great points. You and I have a lot in common when it comes to being the introvert. Yeah, because I'm very much an introvert. But it's funny how we both will put on basically our acting hat, right? We have to put on the acting cap to present ourselves professionally in the way that we want to be seen and, learned from on camera. So that's interesting that happened behind the scenes. I think that was the one that I was on, the LinkedIn Live where, was that the one where you guys came on a little bit late because of tech, or was that what that was?
That was another nightmare. That was with Jeff Young. This was with
that
Paula
one was with
Goodman.
Jeff. Yeah.
This one was with Paula Goodman this week, she's a fabulous poet. And I'm such a fangirl. I just love all her stuff. And she's Canadian. So I was like extra excited to meet her because I'm Canadian. I've always wanted to have a Zoom call with her. And I just wanted to visit with her for a couple of minutes. And here I'm having this nightmare. And I just went, whatever. Yeah. But like with Jeff Young, we had a LinkedIn Live, and it crashed. The cloud crashed, and it was so funny because Vicki, I went to hit my intro countdown music, and I told Jeff, this is what's going to happen. And I went to hit it, and then all of a sudden I couldn't go live. And Jeff was just like, is it your video? And it was just like, well, that would really kind of be bad if the video princess can't play a video. And then it was just like, and we had no idea why we couldn't go live, because it's like, I'm clicking the button and it just said, can't go live, technical difficulties. And the guests were typing in, where are you? What's happening? Yeah. Where did you go? And so I said, Jeff, I'm going to Google. So that's where the Google goddess goes. So I went to Google and I started typing it in. Meanwhile, Jeff has like disappeared, and I learned the whole StreamYard went down. And then afterwards, I found out it wasn't StreamYard. The whole Google Cloud went down. So
Oh my
anything
gosh.
that uses Google Cloud, which is all the streaming services, they all crashed. So it was 10 minutes, but it was a 10-minute nightmare. But you rolled with it. And the important thing was, I was more concerned with the audience. So I typed in a post and I said, technical difficulties will be here soon, because I didn't want to disappoint people. And I think that's the thing. Always think of your audience, and then you don't have time for your own monkey brain.
And you handled that so well. And to your point of, making sure that the audience was taken care of, I think because I was present for that live, and we were in there at first. I'm like, yeah, what's going on? I'm like, I think we all assume that it's a technical difficulty. So you just kind of hang out and wait and see. Cause I've never once tried to attend something and somebody's just like, yeah, I don't think I'm going to show up.
Yeah, I'm canceling.
Yeah. So I think two things on that is that one, you handled it so well and that people are forgiving in those situations. So if anyone's listening to this or watching the video, going live, technical difficulties are going to happen. And
Yep.
people are going to accept it because that's technology. There's things that are unpredictable. So if anyone is thinking about going live, whether it's on LinkedIn or someplace else, go check out Jillian's live sessions on LinkedIn, because she handles every single one of them with such ease and grace. And you always put the guest at ease too. Like you had mentioned, you'd had me on as a guest, and I felt so comfortable being your guest. And then also attending your live sessions, like everybody always seems like they are just like in their place. You guys are having a great conversation. And when technical difficulties happen, when you came on after this situation with you and Jeff, I never would have guessed. Like I would have thought that you had planned on it starting at that time, because you came on and you were just like, all right, let's make it happen. It wasn't like you were flustered or you were like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do, and like being overly apologetic. You were just like, hey, let's get this done. We have a mission. Let's make it happen. And I think that shows a lot about somebody's character and what you would be like to work with when you handle situations like that so well. Other people might have just been like, I can't do it, like freaked out, like, just
Quit.
not done it. But
Yep.
you handled it so well. And you're a great role model for somebody who wants to go live, or how to handle themselves when things don't go the way that they're supposed to go and check your lives out and just understand that, you're one of those go-to people for making it happen.
Thank you. Thank you. And, I love to, like, on your YouTube channel, Vicki, you have one video where you've got your cat, and your cat's doing stuff. And it's kind of like, it's almost like the cat's like, oh, there she goes again, making another video. It's like, it should be about me.
Yeah.
And but it adds personality. And I think that's what's good, that we don't have to be perfect. Why I don't know why people feel we need to get on and be perfect, and don't apologize. We apologize too much. That's one of the things I learned very early in my Toastmasters work. And I always tell people, if you want to do video and get comfortable, check out Toastmasters. It's the greatest place to get some really good public speaking skills, and it's so affordable. And you get a wonderful community that will give you tips on, did you know you have this really weird mannerism? Like, do you know you say so all the time, and you and you like, they help you polish yourself as a speaker. Nobody's born a good speaker. You have to work at it. It's not easy. You need that community to give you that advice. But one of the things they teach you in Toastmasters is, don't apologize. People want you to succeed. So just get up there and do the best that you can, and just recognize you're a human. Nobody saw your script. Nobody knows your lines. If you get up there and you go, oh, I did that whole video and I forgot to talk about this. So what? Now you do another video later. It's like, it's all
You're
good.
expanding your content that way. I'm a fan of saying that perfection doesn't exist. It just doesn't. So
right.
Once you can accept that in your mindset, then you're good to go. And that goes with video as well. And I know that you call yours easy. Is it videoeasypeasy.com? Yep. The website? Okay. And is that how you want people to connect with you, or would you prefer them to connect with you on LinkedIn?
any way you want. So connect with me on LinkedIn. That's the only social media channel that I'm on, but I'm on it like 100%. It's like I don't go to bed. I'm on LinkedIn 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's terrible, but I totally live and breathe on LinkedIn. So that's a great place to connect with me if you want to have a conversation. If you just want to check out my stuff, I have a YouTube channel. Video Easy Peasy is now my branded YouTube channel. So that's kind of exciting. And I just got tons and tons of free stuff. And I highly recommend YouTube. So, YouTube, you can learn so much with the YouTube. So that's a great place to get free content. And then if you want to work with me, I help with video coaching. I'm also now helping with live stream coaching. So if all these people getting access to LinkedIn Live, you might need some tips, even if it's just how do I set up how everything looks in my backgrounds, and how do you flip on the comments, all those different things I can help with as well. So just go to my website, which is videoeasypeasy.com, and I just book by the hour. I'm really easy to work with. So you can do a 30-minute session, 60-minute session, and then I even have group block coaching, and I do done for you videos, but I really prefer to empower people to do their own videos. So that's sort of my preference.
You make it easy peasy for people to connect with you. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Jillian, thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate it. I appreciate you investing time here, and I can't wait for people to hear more about you and how you can help them with their videos. Thank you
Awesome.
again. I appreciate it.
Thank you. And I'm excited because I love your podcast, Vicki, and I'm just so excited to be a guest on your podcast. So now I get to listen to us. So it's just kind of really exciting. And I'm really excited too that your podcast is relaunched again, because it's a good one. It's a good one.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you agreed to be a guest on my podcast now that I've relaunched it. So thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it. It's been a great conversation too. You and we both love video, and I love your approach to helping people with video. So I'll include all of your information in the show notes so that they can just easy peasy connect with you and see how easy it is to work with you as well.
Thank you so much for joining me and Jillian on this episode of Connect the Dots and in this week's video on YouTube. All of Jillian's information can be accessed via the description or in the show notes, which you can access at vickioneal.com/podcast. And this is episode 112, so episode 112. Thank you so much for joining me. Again, thank you, Jillian, for being a guest on my podcast. And until next time, make today great.